Hey everybody, what's up from Roll, Minnesota, your state of skate. Hey, I'm Butch Lehman, and today we're in for another episode of Rolling Reactions. All right, in this episode, we're going to be looking at the finalists, the nominees for Best Video Part of the Year. This is put out by One Blade magazine. They host awards every year, and these are three very deserving nominees. We've got Sean Kelso with his part in Reflect 2. We have Cameron Talbott with his part called For the Birds. And finally, we'll wrap this up with some Bobi Spassov in InNOut. All these sections are amazing. If you haven't seen them yet, you guys are going to like what you see here in a moment. Let's check it out. All right, we're going to kick things off with Sean Kelso's part Reflect 2, and this is the follow-up sequel to his part Reflect. And that video was absolutely amazing. And just as you would expect with Sean Kelso, you're going to get high-level technicality and precision. You're going to get all sorts of ridiculous switch-ups, and you're going to get the master of one-footed grinds. Sean Kelso has been known for that for, I don't know, as far back as I can remember, and he really is inspirational to watch. And these video parts just command rewatchability because it's really hard to mentally process everything that's going into these tricks as it's happening live in the moment. You really have to rewind it back, watch it back in slow motion, and only then can you really figure out the level of precision and technicality put into some of these tricks. Speaking of which, we got true spin or 270 backslide to sole. I think it was sole to 360 top sole. Like I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You got to rewind it back. By the way, this spot looks really fun, this bank to rail. And we found something like that in Iowa at a competition, and that was really cool. That was a really fun spot to skate. Speaking of one-footed grinds, we've got this switch up going not only on a P rail, but up on an actual handicap rail. This handicap rail has a kink to it, so that raises the bar significantly, literally speaking, but also figuratively, of difficulty when it comes to those one-footed switch-ups. Speaking of one-footed grinds, we've got this front torque in slow motion down a kink rail. I don't know about you guys, but that's a trick that's extremely difficult for me on something where you don't even have to jump, like a quarter pipe or a short ledge. But taking it up to a full-sized handrail, especially a kink rail, that's another beast entirely. Up and over. And I believe Sean Kelso is also one of the nominees for Skater of the Year this year. And if I'm not mistaken, he won that award last year. So don't forget to go out to vote. One Blade magazine is hosting the voting. There's a number of different categories. This is just one of them, is Edit of the Year. And Sean Kelso is one of the people that is a finalist on several different categories. That was a really cool transfer, by the way. It was a 0 front torque pop up to top sole on the ledge. Also, we got to compliment the style and the flow that Sean brings this. He's got the big headphones on, which sure are giving him the music necessary to lock in, both mentally but also in terms of the true spin fish that he just threw down. One thing I am noticing about this video as I watch it a second time, though, is the amount of slow motion. And I find it a little bit distracting now that I'm seeing it. I can't really unsee it. And it's kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to slow motion, because if you're sloppy at all, if you're not perfectly aligned and fluid with the way you skate, it's going to emphasize every wobble all the more. In Sean Kelso's case, I don't think that's an issue at all. In fact, this is emphasizing his level of control. Like, look at this. At no point was he hesitant. At no point was he stumbling. Everything was smooth and clean. By the way, that's probably my favorite trick in this whole video part. I love the way it was filmed, too, with the fisheye looking up at the ledge. But yeah, the slow motion, I think, slows down the video a little bit and adds a little bit of redundancy. But it certainly emphasizes the tricks and allows some of that mental processing to happen. I don't know, though. Sean Kelso has been so good for so long, even going back to the days skating with Denial and skating with Razors. I look back on those times fondly, but it's crazy to think how he could continuously get better after decades of doing this. It's like there's never a delay, never any backwards progress, just always been one continuous progression. I like the color of those skates, by the way. They match really well with the jersey. Got some color coordination. We see you, Sean. That's another really cool looking spot, by the way. Coming in fast for this one. Assuming it's going to be a ledge, just based on the geography of the background. Oh yeah, the true spin fish brain going up the ledge. That takes a lot of commitment and a lot of confidence, and when you skate like Sean Kelso, I guess that makes sense. All right, that was our first nominee for Edit of the Year, and this is the second one. This section is for the birds. Literally, that's what it's called. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm not sure how to pronounce Cameron's last name, if it's Talbott or Talbot or some combination thereof. If you guys can correct me down in the comments, that'd be great. He's a skater that's recently been on my radar a lot, and I believe he's one of the nominees for Skater of the Year as well. And the last couple of parts that I've watched have been absolutely mind-blowing. I love his creativity and the way he approaches spots. That's what you're going to see in this video part. This video part is bonkers. After we got this little down ledge, gonna take the sweat stance. And you've heard me say it on this channel before, but that is the most dangerous grind to do on a ledge. You can come at me if you disagree, but you're just objectively wrong. That is a dangerous trick. That's what I'm talking about with the creativity, though. The misdirection of that true spin topsoul. I love that. There needs to be more of that in skating. Little wall ride stall to what I assume was a fish brain. Couldn't quite tell if that was a top acid and you just took the foot off quick, or if it was a fishy. This is a weird, like, double gap, landing on the stair and gapping again. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do something quite like that. He does throw in some more traditional rail-style tricks here. And this one I've seen circulating on social media before I watched this whole section. This long topsoul. This is the kind of thing that makes Chris Farmer smile with joy. It's got its own super kink action happening here. Yeah, get some props from the homie down at the bottom. And some from the homie up at the top. Love can be shared. That's the beauty of rollerblading, is it's a battle with ourselves, but you're never alone when you're out there skating with your buddies. This is another mind-boggling one. Like, to drop down that far and land into the true topsoul, but still have the forward momentum to actually slide it. Like, most people are gonna miss that nuance unless you've actively been skating for a while. But the momentum transfer, I don't know what to say on that. That was like a grabbed fakey heel roll back into far side fish brain. I don't even know if I'm narrating that right, but that's what I love about this section, is it's so good and it just keeps you interested and engaged with all the different ways he approaches skating. Up and over. Really favoring that true topsoul, or that, in this case, the zero spin topsoul. That was a picturesque full cab alley-oop top horn. Even got the little wall ride out on the way out, and you know, it's those details that I think just make his skating so attractive. Nice landing on that too. That was clean. Not sure what's going on with this spot. I mean, he's got to rush off the water. Maybe it's the runway, but it's a roof to drop in on the roof, and I don't know. That's a spot that doesn't look like the trick would be all that hard, but if you think about it, you miss the grind or you stick into the roof a little bit, it's gonna trip you up and you're coming straight down on the face, and a lot of danger in that trick. This is also really cool. Like, look at this fakey wall ride over a super steep bank and over the ledge. And it even has the birds. It fits thematically. It really is the perfect clip to end on. Finally, we'll wrap it up with Bobi Spassov's section in InNOut. Now, Bobi Spassov is another one of those skaters that's absolutely amazing. I love watching his park skating especially, and I love the way he's able to infuse some of those park elements, like the way he spins, into his street profiles. So expect a lot of gaps, a lot of really stylish spinning, as well as a variety of unique spot choices and approaches to skating. He definitely has a creative mindset. In fact, we're going topsoul to fakie, and then not a lot of time to set up for this, but he hits that full cab gap off with the mute grab. And I think that's one of the things that often goes unnoticed by people, is when you don't have a lot of room to set up for a trick, it does infuse a whole nother level of difficulty into the trick itself. This is another really cool one. Uses the picnic table as a gap up to backslide 270 out. That's kind of what I'm talking about, like that park element of using man-made obstacles for gaps into grinds. It has a stunt element that I really appreciate in skating, personally. Kind of brings us back to the glory days. So what I'm talking about with the spins, though, he's got the 540 off the weird-shaped roof. And this time we're going surfing down a major drop rail. Again, adding that stunt element to his skating, which, again, I'm appreciative of. This trick I really don't understand. It's so crazy. Like, you wouldn't want to put a lot of weight on that backslide foot because you've got to jump into the next rail, and, you know, it's a short rail, so there's not a lot of time to transfer weight. But on the other hand, there has to be enough weight placed on the backslide foot that you can jump off of it and make the rail transfer. I think that's probably the, like, shortest rail transfer I've ever seen, especially from a one-footed grind. So I got to give him props on that one. The rewatchability on that trick is just on a different level. This time we'll take the Machio going down, and we'll follow it up with another one-footed grind. This time it's a fish brain on the wall rail, and anytime you do a fish brain, it's a good choice because it's a very elegant-looking trick. Very attractive trick from a very stylish skater. That was a really cool shifty zero spin out too. That's just setting up for the trick, which is this massive in-spin back royale. And did you see how waxed that ledge was? They were definitely prepared for that. It's my personal philosophy that you can never have too much wax, whether it's at the skate park or elsewhere. That was what I'm talking about earlier when I was mentioning Bobi's spinning. Outside of Frankie Morales, I think he legitimately has one of the most iconic spins in all of rollerblading. It's so tucked up and crouched that it's really distinguishable. It's really distinct. This is another really cool looking spot. I love this trick. Topsoul to Hurricane Topsoul. Hurricane Topsoul is one of my favorite grinds, probably my favorite looking trick. There we get the spin again, this time with the mute grab, which is my favorite grab out there as well. So you're just checking all the boxes for my favorites here. Yeah, I can't imagine how technical that last trick was, but that's what I mean with the spin. It's so crouched, it's tucked up, and he just sort of whips it around. When I think about Frankie Morales, I'm used to seeing that sort of spin in that crouched out style. But often with Frankie Morales, I'm used to seeing it from Fakie. He's got the Fakie 360s like nobody else. Bobi, though, I think I'm more used to seeing him do those spins forward. And I do think they complement each other really well. That one, he grabs a bunch of speed, hits the cess slide out. I don't remember for sure if it was him. You guys will have to correct me in the comments. But I think a while back, Bobi was on Ricardo Lino at his skate park, and they did a little clinic, a little video on how to cess slide. I think that's what it was. If that's the case, makes sense that Bobi is teaching us here in this video part. This time we're rolling down the big ledge. That's not the last time you'll see one of those in this video part. He's no stranger to death ledge rolls. We'll just put it that way. Another steezy fish brain to drop. And once again, no run up to it, just jumping directly into it. And that does make the trick significantly harder for a number of reasons. You don't really have the crouch in order to jump. You don't have the momentum. You don't have the opportunity to like spot the trick and lock into it with your speed intact. You're just gonna have to build that speed on the way down. Massive wall ride to drop. I love that. Anytime you infuse these stunt elements into a section, I'm all about that. So there's a lot of nuance here that I think people outside the skating community wouldn't necessarily recognize or acknowledge the same way that we do, those of us that have skated for a while. That tucked up spin again, coming in fakie. Full cab, alley-oop top horn, reverts to forward, almost takes out the biker down at the bottom. Didn't look quite as bad from that second angle. And once again, that really quick landing to jump again without the setup time adds an element of difficulty. I'm telling you guys, having room to plan and to prep is always something that's helpful. By the way, look at all this dirt and grime at the bottom of this down ledge. Would make that a lot more difficult to not slip out on. Big kink rail to drop. I like that. I think we'll get another kink rail in this clip. Yeah. Although it's just a soul grind, look at this monstrous thing. Once more, Chris Farmer would be smiling his approval for skating a kink rail like that. That's a deadly one. Meanwhile, this rail is like a roller coaster. He gets the 5 out on that. You always get bonus points for the 5 out. At least on this channel, you do. That was a nice one. I'm not sure why he's running away, though. It's like, you want to see the clip? And he's like, no, get away from me. We'll watch it later. Said no skater ever. I think literally every skater, when they land something, want to check it back. Some of us are just excited to see it. Others of us want to critique it and go, no, I'll do it again, one more try. And look at this photogenic backdrop to this ledge roll. This thing looks like it was meant for skating, but also not meant for skating. Like, that's really narrow, really deadly, but also beautiful. It was even curved in at the top like a quarter pipe. This one, not so much. This thing looks like utter death incarnate. Like, if death were personified into a ledge roll, that would be it right there. So, I don't know. That's a lot of speed. I would not want to touch that. Amazing part from Bobi Spassov. Definitely deserving of a nomination. Anyway, guys, you've seen the nominees for Edit of the Year, and now's your opportunity to make your voices heard. I'll leave a link down in the description below for One Blade Magazine's awards, and you guys can cast your vote here for Edit of the Year, as well as for a number of other awards. These skaters are all deserving of recognition, and so having that representation from the community is something that each and every one of us has an obligation to participate in. I know that I enjoyed each and every one of these sections, and they all brought something unique to the table that I could personally resonate with. So don't let me sway you, don't let me influence your decision. Ultimately, though, I want to hear from you. Which section did you appreciate the most, and where are you voting in other awards? If you don't mind sharing, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, guys, I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, reminding you all to stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and do some rollerblading. We'll see y'all with the next video. Till then, peace, everybody.